Well, next we got an interview with one of my favorite artists, and actually like one of the guys I'm going to be collaborating with on my Summer Channel record. Actually, his name is Klayton, and he goes by Celldweller, which is his project name. Klayton is probably one of the most talented cats I know. He's had more songs and movie trailers like Spider-Man and Super Bowl and things like that. I mean, the guy makes some pretty serious music. We're about to call him up now. Give me 1 second. So we got Klayton on the phone from Celldweller. Clay, how's it going today?
It's pretty hot.
Yeah, same here, man.
That's what happens in the summer.
Same here
Yeah,
too.
it's 104 in Austin right now.
Okay, you guys got me beat.
Yeah.
I'm complaining about 90 here.
It's 90. And where are you, John?
I'm in San Jose.
Oh, San Jose. Okay, because I'm in Michigan and it's snowing right now.
Oh, wow.
It's 31 and balmy right now in Michigan.
Nice.
It's great.
Nice.
Whoa.
That's funny.
No complaints
But anyway,
here,
some
then.
of you guys know that Klayton, a.k.a. Celldweller, does electronic rock mostly. Klayton, why don't you give us a little background on what you do, what your roots are?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. I've not been one to ever really conceptualize my whole career. I just I was one of those like dumb kids that just thought with his heart, you know, just kind of like I followed musically whatever was moving me at the time, and my earliest roots were probably metal. Like I was a Slayer kid. I was like, you know, obviously the obligatory Metallica and all that kind of stuff, really heavy stuff. Awesome. And I quickly grew bored. I played in bands and the whole thing. I started out as a drummer and all that. And I eventually grew bored of like just guitars, bass, and drums, and I couldn't figure out what else was out there. And somebody someday, a DJ, actually a friend of mine, introduced me to a band called Skinny Puppy, and that revolutionized my world. Like I was like, wow.
Yes.
And the best part about it was that I didn't have to sit behind a drum kit. I could finally get out from behind that and do everything. So at that point, I never worked with anybody again. I just kind of delved in and I learned everything that I could on my own. I mean, this is pre-World Wide Web, so there was no like YouTube to teach me how to use Ableton Live. You know, it's like I was using a built-in sequencer and a Roland D20 keyboard, which was
I know how that
total
goes.
piece of crap, right? So you make do with what you have, and that's what I did. I had a 4-track and a Roland D20, and I just wrote some riffs over that stuff, and somehow or another it ended up getting into the hands of friends of mine that were on this label that was based out of Jersey, and I ended up getting a small record deal out of it, and that really is what moved me from studying to be a doctor in school, which is what I was doing at the time and really had no desire to do, because I don't like people enough to want to be a doctor. So I really wanted to make music, you know, but I was one of those kids too that grew up with this mentality around me, you know, like, well, you know, you can do music, but you have to have a real job. And that was more from society, not my parents. My parents were completely supportive, but I had this thing in my head where it's like, you know, you can't make money and make music. It just does not work. But I was also dumb enough to disregard all of that advice and just do what I really was passionate about. And that was I made music, and I didn't even think anybody listened. I didn't even care. Made music for me, and it turns out there were other people listening, so it's a surprise to me.
Well, dude, you're definitely one of the hottest up-and-coming electronic acts right now. You know, I've seen you in all kinds of movie trailers, movies. I mean, what are you up to lately?
Wow. Lately, if you want to include lately in the last 3 years, I'm working on my new album, because that's about how far I am right now, how far in I am right now. So that is really at the heart of everything that I'm trying to focus on right now, is getting my album done. In fact, I'm releasing my the new Celldweller album in chapters. So each chapter will consist of 2 songs. There'll be 5 chapters total. I'll be releasing 2 songs, which is one chapter at a time. So as I'm finishing tracks, when 2 are done, those are being bundled with artwork and the whole deal and being released digitally. And at the very end, the 5th chapter, I'm going to kind of hold off on that, and that will end up getting packaged into the artwork of the CD, along with a final image that will tie all the other 4 images from the other 4 chapters together into one big image. So this is like, you know, unfortunately, I'm sure you guys can relate. It's like we don't make simple music. It's like, or at least I don't. My brain is not simple, so I ended up making this.
Oh no, dude, I totally know.
So you know, it's like I'm making complex music, and that unfortunately is not. I'm not Kurt Cobain, you know. It's like I can't bang out a riff, step up to a mic and sing it, and there's my song. It's like it's layers of production and experimenting, and you could spend a week editing drums and get to the end of it and go, this sucks, and it's gone, you know. So that's my focus right now, is getting the new Celldweller record done.
No, I'm looking forward to hearing that. The last one was really kick-ass, so, and everything you do that I've heard is kick-ass. You know I love you.
You're the man.
So, Klayton, you know, you've heard this question a lot, but what's the deal with playing live? What are you gonna do it for the future, or?
You know, I vowed a while ago that I would never play live again. See, I come from metal roots. I come from rock roots, so I have always toured with a live band. I just do my records, and then I go find guys to play out live and create a live show and go out and do it. And I've become so demoralized over the years by doing this and kind of getting your ass kicked by playing really crappy clubs and, you know, sometimes bad turnouts. You know, you're getting stiffed for money and you're losing, you're just hemorrhaging money. And
horrible sound systems.
What's that?
Horrible sound systems that make
horrible
you sound
sound
like
systems.
shit.
There you go. Right. Yep. Exactly. And I got to a point where I was like, you know what? Why am I doing this? I'm done. So I just kind of was like, I'm done. I'm never going to tour again. This sucks. And probably a little over a year ago, I just had this thought, and I was like, why am I approaching this like a metalhead? Like, why can't I approach a live show from a completely different angle and just kind of do a one-man show? And it's like, I played in Brazil with these guys, Growling Machines. We played a festival out there, 25,000 people, which was great, and they had remixed a bunch of my tracks. And so what I did was, you know, these guys are on laptops with the set, and I went out there and played guitar, I played drums, I sang, I played keys, and I would just jump around from song to song to various instruments, which is what I do in the studio. And that really triggered this idea of, like, why can't I play multiple instruments and have an entirely multimedia show, like completely driven by video? It doesn't have to be one guy on stage, because I really want people to feel more like they're going to see a movie. So they're paying attention to the screens and kind of what's happening. And so this, again, is another largely conceptual idea. Whether or not I'll ever bring it to fruition will, I guess, depend on if I ever get my album done. That'll be the next step. So, yeah. I mean, there is a possibility that I will tour again, and, you know, I will certainly be hitting you up for some equipment advice on how to pull that off and everything else. You know, I've already asked you. So.
Yeah, you got it. Hey, Todd, why don't you tell some of the listeners? I know, you know, I'm familiar with a lot of the stuff that you've done, but what about some of the trailers and movies you've had your stuff? And I'm sure the list is endless at this point, but why don't you just name off a few of those?
You know, I truthfully don't even really keep track much, but I know some of the bigger ones. Like most recently, I landed The Surrogates, which is the new Bruce Willis movie, which is cool because it's a completely sci-fi, futuristic, you know, type deal, which is in my world. So I'm in The Surrogates. Most recently, I've been in Iron Man, Speed Racer, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. I don't even know. There's lots more.
Yeah,
they're in there somewhere.
All right, so and why don't you tell us a little bit about what you use in the studio, like some of your favorite pieces, and you know.
Well, I guess right now my favorite piece, which isn't even technically anything that makes sound, it just processes it. I got an SSL AWS 900 Plus board, a console. So I finally, something I've dreamed about for years was actually having a real board, and so I have one of those, which has really changed my sound a lot. I'm a Pro Tools guy. I've done the Logic thing, Ableton, you know, and I use all of these programs to do sound design and create, but my main hub has always been Pro Tools. It just has made the most sense to me, and it's set up to work the way that I work, which is a lot of, like, audio suite processing. So I'm just grabbing audio regions and I'm affecting them and committing to them. That's it.
Wow.
You know, and then gear, it's kind of a mixture of, as probably every artist can say, it's a mixture of hardware and software. And, you know, I try to make sure that I'm not relying completely on software, because there is certainly a quality difference between hardware and software.
Totally.
So I have a lot of vintage outboard gear, from synths to, you know, Neve 1073 channel strips, and you know, Telertronics like LA2A and things like that I use for the vocals, and that kind of deal.
So Clay, what track do you have to play for us tonight, and why'd you pick it?
It's actually it's a mix that I did, a mini mix. It's like a little under 6 minutes, and it's what I'm calling a clash up, which is kind of a Klayton mashup, I guess.
Nice.
And it just kind of happened, you know. It's like like I said, my roots are from metal, and I don't even listen to anything remotely rock anymore, but I still love the energy of that. And I just started toying around with blending Slayer riffs with Deadmau5 beats and this kind of thing, and I ended up
Wow.
Awesome.
It kind of works. So I have this clash up that has a few of my original tracks that I've never even released before, and I took some vocals from some of my other songs. So what I ended up wanting to do was blend from a variety of things that I've done over the course of my career into other people's tracks. So you'll hear some vocals from me or some music with someone else's vocals, or, like I said, Slayer meets Deadmau5 and the whole deal. So
awesome.
You know,
cool.
it's cool for what it is. I mean, I really, again, did it for myself, and it turns out that I just gave it out for free, obviously, and it seems that there's at least 5 or 10 people that like it. So maybe we'll have more after the show's done.
All right, so Clay, thanks for being on the show today, and good luck with everything, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for you guys having me.